Okay, so now we are live. We'll wait some minutes before we start. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome, Julissa. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
presence in our webinar about diversity. I'm Altina. I'm from Nearshore. I work in the talent marketing, and we are very glad to have you here in our first webinar about diversity. We always make LinkedIn Lives, but this is the first time that we have such a topic. So we are very glad that Julissa could make it. We thank a lot to Stream Developers, which partner with us so that we could make our streaming in their platforms. Welcome, everyone. We are very happy that you are participating. I wanted to use some minutes until everyone connects to the different platforms to tell you some things about Nearshore. We are an outsourcing company and we are constantly looking for developers and different profiles in technology. So if you are interested in participating in our different job opportunities or in joining us, you can see all our open positions that we have in nearshore.com. So I will leave you, Julissa, with our participants so that you can start with the talk in about 2 minutes. Julissa is from the Dominican Republic and she's the founder of Mujeres TICS RD. So she has quite a path in diversity and inclusion. So we are very glad that you can join us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled to be here today because for me, this is a very important topic, and not always people understand what we are going to be talking about. But I think this specific talk will help a lot of people to digest what can we do as individuals to really do something different inside our jobs, inside the community, to make sure it's not only talking about diversity, but also inclusion. So if you're ready, you can actually present the slides, and I will be more than happy to really participate. I also encourage, because I know this will be record, will be on YouTube. If you have any question, anytime, you can let your question in the video, and later I will be trying to check the video constantly to make sure if you have any doubt, I will be answering. So thank you so much for having me again.
That's awesome, Julissa. So, as she said, you can ask anything you want during the whole live version, or if not, you can ask after that, and we will be sending out your answers by email or by the same chat. So, now I'm going to share your screen and I leave you so that you can continue with it.
Well, we named this specific talk "The Power of Diversity" because I want to really emphasize the power in this. It's not something that we use when we want to be creative and have an space where so many people work together. We need to really take the power of having diversity in our team. And this is why we use it for driving innovation and success. Know the company, know how to really handle when you have diversity. And I would like to really try to define different concept before getting into how can we use this for innovation, so everyone is in the same page as we go, right? So if you have any question, I will be reviewing the questions so I can actually go with the flow with the people that is in here today and took the time to really be in this talk. We are going to be talking about what is diversity, the benefits inside the workplace, how diversity can actually lead to innovation. So I will go through all these structures so you really have the sense of how we can actually change the tech industry, because we are almost everybody here is in the tech industry, is something that is bigger. I have more 12 plus years working in the tech industry, not only working helping girls to get into tech as a founder of the Mujeres TIC RD, but also as a consultant working as a software developer. I've been in so many different spaces to understand how can impact the inclusion and diversity, and how I felt the first time I got into a tech department. I want to really guide you through how can really you understand something that probably is not happening to you, is happening to people that get into the department, and sometimes they don't feel like they belong there. They don't feel like even the space can have me and they hire me, but I actually don't feel like I belong. And how I switch all of that into making myself part of the team, and how also showing them all the bias that they can actually get into, allow them to understand how to treat me even better, and also how to respect boundaries and all the things that probably can hurt a great relationship is inside any tech company, right? So this is the first image that comes to my mind when I'm talking about diversity. You maybe will think about, okay, I see a bunch of people here, but this is a picture of how the world work, right? If you go out your home anytime in the day, probably you will face that you are not the only one walking down the street, that there are so many people with different characteristic walking down the street as you are right now. If now we are building products to the world, we now need to be thinking how the people around me things and how these people behave. But if I'm just taking into account the people near my home, probably I will face so many situations because maybe they can think similar to me. But if you're in a city like me, like now I'm in New York, you will face something completely different, like people from other ethnicity, other perspective, female, male, people that probably have any disability, probably a language barrier. There are so many things going on right now that probably will make us think, how can I approach creating something for everyone to use? And we as the tech industry, we already know how to handle that. There are so many great companies right now that are working toward helping people around the world and understanding every culture, every language, and everything that we are building. But now we are facing so many issues and situation with the AI, that probably if I'm training an AI just based on my specific characteristics, probably that AI won't be able to help other people in other cultures. So while now we need to be thinking in a broad way, right? So something that is important is diversity and inclusion. People normally use these two words when they are referring, like, we are in a company that is actually a diverse company. We have people from around the world. We are welcoming girls into the team. We are welcoming people of color into the team. We are welcoming veterans into the team. But are you including those people in the team? So this is something that we have to go. And I will give you an example. For me, I like to cook and I really like to eat also. So I will be showing you some examples of how we can understand diversity and inclusion. And something before that is diversity is more than race. Diversity is more than gender. Diversity is every ingredient while we are making a cake. And I will put that specific example. Imagine right now that we are creating a cake, right? So we have eggs, we have butter, we have flour, we have so many ingredients that we can use at the moment of creating a cake. This is the world. The world has so many ingredients, but the ingredients by themselves can work because you can actually eat eggs by themselves. Like you can have eggs with rice, or you can have eggs with something else, but you can also combine all these ingredients to do something different. And this is super important because diversity is having all the specific ingredients in the same place to do something with it, right? And all my ingredients, when we are talking about diversity, can be ethnics, the socioeconomic situation, geographic, where that person is located right now, the professional background, right? But also we have other kind of diverse approach, like, okay, what are your religious beliefs, their political beliefs, or heritage, or your life experience. All that can bring diversity, even if someone looks similar to me, like we are Latin Americans and we probably are Dominican because I'm Dominican. But maybe even though we look alike, we have so many different things going on. And this is rich. This is something amazing to have so many differences with people, because that allow us to really get something from them and construct something over that. Like, I know my truth, you know your truth, and we can combine and do something amazing with the diverse variety of ingredients that we can be using. And what can I do with those ingredients? With those ingredients, I can create a cake. And that specific cake is the result of so many things that comes together. The delicious flavors that comes from this specific cake is what we call inclusion. If we don't know how to include correctly, we will end up with something that tastes so bad. So we need to really know how to get all these things together. And inclusions involve bringing together the diverse forces and resources for one specific benefit, with the benefit of myself working in that company, the benefit of the company, the benefits of all the people, the society, the government. We are all together. And this is moving all these ingredients and putting words into actions. No, it's not enough saying we are a diverse group. It's important to really understand if we are creating a space for those people to really behave the way they know they have to behave, of the way they understand is better for them, right? So we need to take this into account. This is why we need to understand that diversity is what you have, like the ingredients. Uh, you are one of the ingredients, like those things that make you unique. And inclusion is what you do, the actions you take to make a space feel free for you to go. This is really amazing because when you have that specific knowledge, you can be able, even though if you are not the team lead, if you are not the manager, if maybe you are thinking about moving forward in another position, you must understand that you can actually start building an inclusive workspace. You don't have to wait for your manager to do so, or you don't have to wait for human resources to create a diverse environment. You can actually take actions, right? And do your part. It's important to do our part and make the people feel included, right? So I will be checking if there is any question. I will be reviewing everything here. Perfect. I will check in your questions. So if you have any question anytime, let me know. So let's continue. So if I want to really get into this, and how can I maybe change few things that probably I didn't knew that I was having that problem, that can be our bias. We can be biased for so many things, right? We can be biased even if we think we are being inclusive. And I will be showing you 8 kind of bias that are always like in our society, and not always we are taking care, taking into account what we are doing, right? The first one, if the affinity bias. This bias is somehow good when you are trying to make new friends, but somehow bad if you are working in a company and you are letting people out just because they don't look like you, right? The affinity bias is normally referring when we think that we can get along with a specific kind of people, like, okay, that person looks like me, maybe she's wearing her hair curly like me, or maybe he's wearing I don't know, a beard, and for somehow he knows how to cook the same as I do. So that specific moment defines that I want to get along with that person. Well, maybe someone tell me I don't like the same baseball team that you like, and I can reject right away that person, even in a team. So I can be diverse. We are all together at the office, but maybe that person, just because he don't like baseball, nobody's talking to him or nobody's inviting him to do activities just because we don't have an affinity with that person. And we can change that. It's something that we have to change, because somehow we just have affinity with people that we grew up with. Like, I grew up with that person, now I think I can be friend with that person. But when someone is new in the office, I don't like to be talking. Maybe that person comes from another culture, and I don't know if that person will be okay with the way I act. So you decide to, instead of welcome that person, you put that person like aside, right? Or if that person have certain hobbies, I don't want to bother that person. So you must take into account what can actually be affecting the way we interact. The other um the other bias that we can tend to have is to look for confirmation, right? The confirmation bias is something like, if you think that certain culture act this way, and you understand that is their reality because that's what you think, you go and search for that specific thing, and you will find so many people agreeing with you. They will believe the same thing. So you use that information for, I don't know, confirming what you already know, because you don't want to really confront different ways of thinking, because that person that comes maybe from India thinks that we have to wear this kind of clothing, and you say no, you don't have to use this, because this is what you have to wear, and we can all wear whatever we want or is accepted inside our culture. But we never have to think we are not affected by the confirmation bias, because somehow we think we know, and that's one of the worst things that can happen in your life. That is when you think you know something, and you don't even look other answers or other things. One of my suggestions, if you feel somehow that you can be biased in a confirmation bias, is try to wear another hat, right? Try to see the world from that other person's eyes. Like, if you can actually say to yourself, maybe, okay, this is a guy, he's the manager, he has so much power, this and this and that. How I will act if my boss is a girl? I will act the same. I will act in certain way, try to wear a different hat, a different perspective, try to think from the other person perspective, and that can help you a lot to understand somehow how other people is thinking. And this is great because you can make questions and you can question your own reality, because our reality is so many pieces from where we grew up, the people that raised us, and so many people that is helping us every single day. So it's always great to really check on yourself that you don't have that kind of bias, right? So I can see here that we have people connected, and I don't know if someone wants to comment here if you have ever encountered a moment where when you feel like the halo effect can be affecting you. Like this is one of the most famous um, bias that we can have. That is when specifically you think that person is great at everything just because that person is great at one specific thing. For example, that person is a great, I don't know, gardener. He's great gardening and decoring everything. But now, because he's good at that specific task, somehow you will think that that person will be a great father or a great brother or a great colleague. And somehow, this is why we have to be aware that probably because someone is acting good with you doesn't mean that that person is acting good with everyone. So somehow you can be friend with someone at the office that can treat you well because probably he has an affinity bias. Like with you, he feels safe. But when he needs to talk with someone older or probably with someone with from I don't know, from another city or with a girl, he acts differently. So we need to be thinking clear almost all the time for not to fall into the halo effect, because it's somehow can affect so many lives when we really understand that just because that person is good in this specific thing is going to be good in everything. We have so many others, and I know I mentioned before, like the gender bias, that is just because I don't think girls are good at this or boys are good at this, and sometimes that can be biased. Or Asian ageism, that is when you think that just because that person is older probably knows a lot, or because that person is older won't be able to work in the office, or you treat that person like that person is disabled somehow, when that person that probably can be helping a lot the office, but you for just for thinking that person is old, we don't take that person comments, or or I don't know, the things that that person can contribute to the team in a great way just because he's older. The name bias is something really sad, because somehow people tend to really understand someone is going to behave just based on the name. Like if my name is Mariah, someone can actually think like she can be a calm person or something like that. But if my name is Jamal or any other name or a Chinese name, you may be reading the CV or the resume for that person. You will think I don't think that person will have the skills to work here, just because the name is associated with something that probably you don't like, or a culture that you don't like. And that happens a lot in different countries, where just because of your name someone can actually turn down your resume. And this is why sometimes people tend to change even their name. If my name is maybe Julissa, I know that will sound like a Latin name. I will use, I don't know, Julie as name. That is easier for them to understand, and also will make them think that probably I'm from another race. So this is something that happens a lot, and we have to take care when we have bias just based on the name. We have bias by the beauty, and this is something that happens a lot also. That is when we think, okay, just because this person look great and that person not, I won't have the service from that specific person because I don't like that face. So we have to take care of this, and also the conformity bias that is based on if everyone is doing something, I will do the same because I think if they are doing this, it's just because it's that way. Overcoming those biases is hard. I never said that was is going to be easy. This is something that is impregnated in our lives, like is inside our brain, in our blood. You will think that way. And it's because we've been trained so many years, and it's hard for us to question the way we think. So if we are working now in the tech industry, probably you are now working with people from all around the world, and you will have to face different perspective, different way of thinking, and we will need always to really remove our hat, the way we think, and use another one to be able to understand why this person is always late, or why this person is always on time, or why this person think I'm late even when I'm thinking I'm on time, right? Because maybe as a Latin America, if I say I will be there at 6, I can be there at 6:30. It's still 6. But for someone else, 6 means that I have to be 5 minutes earlier. So we need to make questions, try to really get to understand the people that we are working with. And if we see something, we have to say something. It's not only what is affecting us directly, it's how it's affecting the culture inside my company. As I told you before, it doesn't matter that you are not the boss yet. It's our responsibility to make sure the inclusion is always happening because we are working almost 8 to 10 hours per day. The people that we work with are the people that really live with us. And we need to understand that we don't want to go to work every day and have a fight with our colleagues or have a sensation that I don't feel that I belong here, or I don't feel like my boss understand me. I don't feel like my colleagues understand me just because I'm from outside here, or maybe because I'm handicapped, or maybe because I'm black, or maybe because I'm a girl. No, nobody wants to feel that way. And sometimes people can be suffering a lot and they won't say anything. And sometimes we have to see, is someone in my team probably is suffering for something like that, because they tend to be like quiet and try not to be loud and try not to be even noticed in the office because they don't feel like they belong. And maybe in not all the company works the same. Maybe if you live in Japan, it's not a diverse country. Probably you will find just Japanese people working in a department. And now imagine that you have to go out and work with Dominicans, Puerto Rican, Canadians. Now you have to change the way you work, right? But as we work in this digital environment, now we can be working with Japanese people. We now can be working with Indian people, or we can be working with people from anywhere. And we have to make sure we are taking our actions, and we are taking our action and not letting everything in the hands of the human resources. We can be also hiding the new people our team, because outside, every time you are out of the work, people is going to be asking you, where do you work? Can be a girl, can be a older man, can be someone different. And if they notice that, they just you can say, no, this is a welcoming a company. This company is allowing us to really grow. This company takes care of the pregnant. This company is taking care of our mental health, or this company really take emphasis in how we feel inside this company, I can assure you, you can be making an impact bigger than probably the recruiting team from the human resources. So, overcoming this is not easy, but it's not impossible. It's in our hands to do it. And it's really amazing once you have the opportunity to really work inside a company that is diverse but also inclusive. So let's continue. I wanted to show you few real world examples of diversity and driving success. I'm showing you here international companies, but I had the pleasure to work in many companies where they really do the extra mile to make sure we are a diverse group. Not only because they think looks good in the newspaper or looks good to say we are one of the best companies to work in the R or or in anyhow. But the reason they do so is because if we are working with products that must be in everyone's house, we must have a diverse group and we must understand what everybody's thinking. So we have here three companies from US that they already did something similar, like they understood how important is to really see yourself in campaigns, to really see yourself in what they do. So Target was one of those company, and they began featuring was one of the first company that was featuring people from different perspective in their stores. Like you were able to see people of color, girls, kids, everyone, people from different ethnicities in one campaign because they were representing what they already have inside their team. Like before that, all the newspaper and all the magazine were featuring people of Caucasian people, just white people. Like those are the only people that were posing like models. But if I'm a person that probably is heavier than those people that were featured in that magazine, probably I won't be um, buying clothing from Target just thinking that probably that store is not thinking about me. They are not understanding that I also need to wear clothes. So that was one of the first company trying to use inclusivity not just for the buzzword, but for doing real change in the way they were presenting their products. Coca-Cola did something similar. They in 1971 they did a commercial called Hilltop. You can actually search for that specific ad on YouTube, and you can find that they were all singing all together. Like you have the opportunity to bring all the work together, and that was something amazing because Coca-Cola is one of the companies that is making also great efforts to make sure they have diverse groups. The same way Nearshore right now with this talk is doing their part, like bringing diversity and looking for new employees and looking for new talent, a diverse talent. They don't care your country. The only thing they care if you're a talented person and you are willing to work in one of the most important companies right now in Latin America that is growing because of the people that work inside, right? Nike did something similar too. They were looking a way to really get into everyone's home. And they created this campaign called Until We All Win that is based on any anybody in the world can wear this brand. It's a powerful sport brand. And until today, they've been helping all ethnicity, all kind of people, and they have internally so many programs to help the people to feel at home. They even celebrate everyone like activity like for your country. They don't care if you are from Mexico. you are celebrating your Cinco de Mayo, or if you are from Dominican Republic, they are celebrating the Independence Day. They look stories to make everyone inside the company included. This is something that we can actually do from now. Like if we have a diverse group, we can actually figure it out when is a holiday in that country, or what kind of celebration make that specific country unique. And with that information, you can actually, I don't know, make a gift to that colleague, and that will make them feel like home. Like, these people care for me, and this is great. And this is something that I encourage people to do. Like, don't feel that you are alone at the office and everyone must understand you. Speak up and try to really get to understand the others around you. So, how to embrace your diversity? As I said before, this talk is based on the people that want to do something now. We are not waiting for others to come and tell us, okay, the company is working in diversity, but this is just a campaign. No, we can now do something. The first thing is listening to everyone. Like, consider your life, your beliefs, what is inside you, why you think the way you think. And when you are trying to really come up with ideas for any new product, or to really share your thoughts, try to listen to the others, what they have to say. It doesn't matter if they are older, because somehow when we are creating tech, we think, I don't think this person knows how this works, because that technology is so new that probably they they don't even know how to handle. No, sometimes you need to hear from them. If you want to include them to use, I don't know, you want a manager or a person that is in your team, and you are in an old company, probably you think all my colleagues don't understand the new trends. You can help them, and you can understand where they come from and why they cannot use this kind of application. Maybe because they are lacking vision, and the items in the application are so small that I cannot read it. So listening to the people, what they have to say, allow us to really understand. I can make this phone accessible. I can create this way of working, and where they can actually come at this specific time. So we can do something when we start listening. And where are you coming from? You need to also do an evaluation, like consider what is influencing you, why you have negative point of view with someone specifically, why you think like that when you think in people from this specific region, or why maybe you think that a girl won't be able to lift a computer, why you think that they won't be able to work at night. So why we think the way we think. Befriend other people. This is something that is sounds good, sounds easy, but it's not as easy. And it's even harder when you are older. Like when you are older, it's hard for you to really find new friends, right? But when you're at your job, it's important to befriend the people in the office, because this is the people that you really live with them. And it doesn't matter if you're working remotely or if you are working physical. And somehow sometimes, now that we are working almost all of us in technology, working remotely, we are feeling alone most of the time, because we are eating alone, we are working and working, and somehow when you're sad, nobody's there to really tell. So when you try to welcome someone new, even if that becomes just a job friendship, that can change the lives of so many people. So it's really great that you take your time to get to know the people that you work with, right? And try to find probably something that can make you happy about seeing that person the next time. Even you don't have to talk to them weekdays and weekends. You can be working and really make easier the way you work every day. We have to work at least 12 hours, 8 hours, I don't know, so many hours a day. That is the best thing that we can do for ourselves and for others, is to really become a great colleague, a great even friend in the future. Also, is to have empathy. Empathy is something that everyone thinks they have, but we not always we have it, because we have to put ourselves in their shoes, to understand with that person's story, to understand why they act the way they act, and actively accept and embrace other people, show compassion, look to embrace for real the diversity in your team, and really help the people around you. And you will be asking why companies are investing so many time, resources in diversity. And this is because diversity is helping to retain talent, right? When we have a diverse team, people tend to learn a lot. When you are always with the same people that talk about the same thing, you can get bored. Like you can be wasted. Like I don't really find anything exciting and new in this job. I just feel like I work, I get paid, and I go home. That's the only thing that I'm receiving from this job. I don't have joy in this job. But when you have a diverse group, every day is a new experience. It's like traveling. This is why we travel. We travel looking for experience, for eating, knowing places, getting to know the city, right? When you're talking to someone that probably is not similar to you, and that person is different, you can have the opportunity of a lifetime, the opportunity to really experience through their eyes their reality. And that's the way I've been working in most of the companies I've been, is because the diversity groups allow me to really try always to get the new thing. I've been in countries that I've been there just because I made a friend, and that friend told me that they make the best thing in town. So I flew there just to really get to know all the great things they were telling me about their own country, right? And you have to start thinking, do I have in my personal life, do I have friends outside my ethnicity? I'm Dominican. Do I just have Dominican friends? If I'm Colombia, I just have Colombian friends. If I'm from Brazil, do I have just Brazilian friends? Why don't you search in your own perspective to have a diverse team? Like, I can have people from other country. I can be friend with older people. I can even be friend with younger people. How can I be friend to a guy? How can I be friend with someone from the LGBTQ community? What is stopping me from making my group of friends diverse? Because when you really take this into your everyday life, becomes seamless. Like, you don't have to think about diversity all the time. You just have to live in what is in front of you. And this is something really amazing when you have the time to really think about this. And that allows to retain talented people. The results are better. When you are creating tech, that is great, because even if you read everything, like if I want to create an application for people in China, maybe I can read all the story about China and I can understand the their culture, and I've been eating Chinese food in my country. But if I don't have someone from China, I won't be able to really do something that can impact that specific country, because I will be missing so many specific details that normally no one is talking online about them, or or because I never been there, I won't be able to relate to the situation of the things that they can be facing. Even with the keyboard, maybe I'm creating this new platform, and I'm not taking into account the way their keyboard behaves. So it's super important to really understand that having this specific environment can help a lot, and can allow you, if even if you're not a leader, if you're helping the team to grow and also to be better, you are becoming a great leader, because now leaders are facing harder times. Like, you have to be leader for people that probably is different than you, and normally we don't choose our colleagues. In our personal life, I can decide who is my friend, right? But when I'm working in a company, people come and go, and also people come from different places, and I will need to learn how to really work with them. So it's super important to take into account how I'm really behaving next to all these different people. Because if tomorrow I need to become the leader, or if I'm a senior leader, or if only I'm the senior developer, I will have to work with juniors, and that is a kind of leadership. And you will have to understand that they come also from different generation. Now also this diversity is also having people from different generation, like generation X, or I have millennials, or I have Gen Z. All that defines the future in a corporate world. So diversity brings new perspective, fresh perspective, help with problem solving, decision making, productivity. This is proven. IBM is one of the largest companies proving this every single day. I won't be here explaining a whole user case of how IBM uses diversity in their company, but I can tell you is amazing, because with all the diverse inside, the problem solving becomes easier than ever, because I can have my own perspective of how can I really solve this problem. But when I have other perspective from someone that is older than me, things can change. And sometimes it's hard when you are the older, and a young man from 18, 19 years old comes to you and give you the answer, and you say, wow, how I couldn't see that by myself. And this kid is helping me now to achieve this specific result. And I learned that you need to be always attentive to anyone around you, the younger, the older, anyone, anyone in the office can help you with solving a problem. And the decision making becomes easier, because you don't have to wait to do a marketing research to understand how that specific ethnicity work. You have, if you have people from that specific place, things are faster and easier and fun, I think. And the productivity rise up. All the greatest company, all the multimillionaire companies are diverse, right? And well, yes, we know there are so many things yet to do in so many companies to help to really continue improving that specific area. But we all have our step to do, and we can really make our company to take this into something that can help the new people in even in their onboarding process, like how I do my onboarding process and how I make sure the new people that is getting into the company understand how valuable is to have a diverse team. Something that is happening a lot is that many of the businesses just focusing on improving diversity, bringing new people, but know how to include them. That was exactly what we were discussing before. In Forbes, the magazine has an amazing article that you can actually check that out later, where they are explaining how 11 companies are now succeeding just because how they are managing the inclusive practices. It's not just being able to hire them, because human resource is now every day learning new tactics on how improve the way of people coming into the office. But now we have to face the reality of how my people that is already in the company is accepting this new generation coming, because that happens to us. I'm a millennial, and when I was like younger, I didn't understand all these gaps between different people. When as you get older, you understand how the people work depending of the generation. They work different, they plan different, they manage their time different, and this is something that we have to take into account. Because if we want everyone to work the way we do, it doesn't matter if those people are diverse. If all that we are doing is based on just one specific person, at the end of the day, we are not diverse at all. We just have diverse people. Like we have so many ingredients, but we don't know how to make the cake yet. So, this is why I'm telling you having a diverse workforce is just the first step. We need to make sure we are doing great for them. And because I want to be listening for any of the questions that you have in the chat, at the bottom line, my message for you today was try to understand the diversity means having employees from diverse demographic. As I told you before, it's not only race, it's race, gender, age, sexual orientation, all those all kind of attributes that make us different, right? Inclusion is making all of them feel welcome and include in our team. I can have a diverse team without inclusion, and that's the disaster. If we don't plan together as a team and how we are going to welcome all these new people, we can be facing a disaster. And when we don't know how to work it, what end up happening is that we try to be diverse and we encourage people to come to work with us, but they left. At the end of the day, they left. They don't last even a week, they don't last even a month, just because I was trying to pursue diversity but not inclusion, right? So diversity and inclusion raise productivity and satisfaction if we know how to do it. If we don't, we can be facing several problems, even a reputation problem, if we don't know how to handle a situation inside the office. So the workplace inclusion start with addressing the bias that we already mentioned before. The bias of the age, the halo effect, all that can affect tremendously how the people really feel inside the company. And also ensuring the virtual workplace diversity inclusion is a group effort. All of us must do our best. If we see something, say something. If we see one of our colleagues is not participating or is not feeling great, try to communicate and try to really find a way, create a bridge where they can be themselves, you can be yourself, but you can connect in a way that you can work every single day fine and great. And I think that's something that can help a lot of us to really get into how we can save the day with great colleagues. Again, diversity and inclusion are more than buzzword. Let's do this together. I will be taking questions. I would like to hear your experience. And also, I would like to tell you that all the teams that are working in this specific matter can change enormously the way our corporates work today. So, yes, let's say, I don't know if I think I am great on time yet, but let's have some questions from you. Thank you, Adriano. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate all of you being in this live because I know this is something that normally people don't talk, but I think it's in our hands to really do something different for the society and also for the company that we are working in. And I know, as I said before, Nearsure is working toward having a diverse team, and this is why, even if you work in the company and you know that tomorrow someone can become a new employee, we are the best expression of a great company. You must be always working in a company that says, I know I know who I am because I work there. This company is great because it's having these these features, this specific way of working, and that what makes this company a place where I want to be working. Let's see if I have any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Julissa, for all your words and everything you transmitted during this webinar. It was really great, and we are willing to see what other things we can do in the future for diversity and for women and different minorities. So we will keep in touch. If anyone has any questions or want to ask something to Julissa, you can contact us by LinkedIn or in her own personal LinkedIn just to get to know us. And if you're interested in being hired by Nearshore, like Caitlin, I see your comments. You can see our open positions in nearshore.com/careers. So you can see if there any job post that it's for your profile. So we will be waiting for that. I hope you everyone have a great afternoon, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.